From now on, it's being recorded. And hi, guys. Good evening. So, welcome to another webinar organized by the Weekly Fasting Group. And this webinar is with Jordan, who is a life coach and a fasting coach, right, Jordan?
Yep. Yes, indeed.
Good. And yeah, so please enlighten us on the subject of reaching our goals in general and our fasting goals in particular.
Perfect. Well,
Over to you.
awesome. One of the things that I see a lot is that people are instantly, or basically, they're beating themselves up for not having achieved massive goals when they first start. And that's what made me want to talk about this today. Is it's so counterproductive to actually reaching the goals by making, when you make yourself bad, then that doesn't get you any closer to your goal. It actually takes you further away, because when you beat yourself up for not having achieved massive success instantaneously, then, I mean, not only obviously you're not getting your goal, but it actually creates processes in the brain where, like, that shame and guilt is going to actually make it harder for you to accomplish your goal. And and allowing, I mean, this, I think Ivana and I both say this a lot. It's about letting go of the resistance. When you let go of the resistance, that's when magic happens. And for me, when I coach people, sometimes it can be frustrating to people at the beginning that I actually tend to throttle them back a little bit and ask them to create smaller and smaller and smaller goals. And and the result, though, is that they tend to launch themselves to a much faster success by not needing to be at the end point right away. Um, the the number one thing to notice on any goal that you have is how do you feel about yourself right now? And if you are unhappy with who you are or where you are, that's actually going to slow down reaching your goals. And so I sort of do a two-pronged approach. Is one, tamper down the goals just a little bit, but then heal the things that make you unhappy, heal the things that make you feel the need to jump right into the the marathon. And then everything becomes easier and easier as you go along. um, there's a lot that can be done in terms of, when you create a goal, then a lot of times there's a lot of either, well, things that get in the way. Procrastination, which is the biggest thing, um, and and feeling unworthy because of either your past experience or of feeling the difficulty of whatever it is that's going on. And and when we can heal those, because those are very healable energetically, and as you heal that, then it's easier to move through. Let's see. I'd love to know, like, Arik, do you have any goals? Um, do you have any goals that feel like they're big goals?
Yes, of course. of course I do have. I have in different spheres of my life. Actually, I've learned. I've studied this subject of achieving goals. It fascinates me how you take a big goal and how you divide it into smaller steps, etc. But yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. I would like to extend my YouTube presence. I already now have few YouTube channels, and the Hebrew one is quite popular. Got lots of subscribers recently, but I would love to increase to increase my capacity to bring to get across the positive messages to people, to uplift people. That's in this realm. In terms of fasting and living on energy, pranic living, I also have goals in this direction, and pretty much in every aspect of my life. I think that goals, that's a very important factor in our life.
And do any of those goals make you feel frustrated?
No, I wouldn't say so because I think I quite understand these principles. So I try not to like. I just know that if something seems too big now of a goal, then I just need to divide it into smaller steps or to put my attention for now into different other areas that would be supportive to achieving that goal. For example, if it's difficult for me to fast now, to do long-term fast, then I might want to put more emphasis on just bringing more creativity into my life, because it's a supportive factor. So that's what I mean pretty much. So I wouldn't say that I have any goals that frustrate now because I just understand the futility of frustration. It won't contribute to anything.
Awesome. Well, good. So you're on board. um,
But maybe you can ask other people because I've really researched the subject of goals quite a lot. But maybe there are some other people who want to share something that frustrates them in their goals.
Sure. And as people think about what they might want to talk about, um, I will say one of the things that I have frequently coached people on is is because people know about chunking things down, but really chunking it down, taking that chunk that they created and breaking that into smaller steps, and taking even that and breaking it into smaller steps, and making the first step so tiny that you feel ridiculous for even using that as a goal. And one of the things, just as an illustration, it doesn't necessarily have to be this micro, but one of the things is, like, say you have a goal of doing an 11-day fast, dry fast. And that's not something that everybody can just jump right into. And so sometimes people will say, well, then I'll just do a 7-day fast. But even that's a lot. And in order to do that, you really do need to have fasting and cleansing under your belt. And sort of the next chunk down tends to be 3 days or 5 days. But even that, if you're just getting started, it's one thing if you've been doing it forever and it's easy for you. But we're talking about goals that aren't easy for you. And so then the first goal might be 24 hours. But even that could be too much if you're just getting started. I see a lot of people, because I'm in a number of fasting groups, I see a lot of people will like hit the wall at 18 hours and they're shocked at how bad they feel at 18 hours. And my advice is do less. It's okay. Like you do not have to reach some arbitrary goal to really get results. And where you are is exactly where you are, no matter what your goals are. And if If 18 hours is too much, then maybe even 12 hours is too much. Maybe even 8 hours, although we do sleep. So 8 hours should be okay. But I would say if 8 hours of non-sleeping time of dry fasting is too much, then you are absolutely okay to make it even shorter. And sometimes I will literally give somebody the goal of 1 hour. Go 1 hour. Don't eat or drink anything for 1 hour. And then if you can get through that, go for another hour. But then if 1 or 2 hours is difficult, if it's not difficult, great. Go to whatever feels the next level of so easy, it's silly. But if 2 hours is difficult, then once somebody hits 2 hours, they're done for the day. Like they have to break the fast and they have to do something else and not worry about it until the next day. And then the next day, then they can go for 3 hours. And then they're not allowed to take it further yet. And then they have to wait until the next day. And then you go to whatever amount feels like it's really easy. And as you keep doing that, then you will be doing little micro healings and cleansings. And then the next steps are going to be so much easier. And once you do get started, you don't have to add an hour all the way up to 11 days. Once you get started, the benefits will create momentum, and then your results are really going to build on each other, and you'll be able to make bigger and bigger leaps as you go along.
Jordan, I have a question. Will it be helpful in this case to reward themselves after those 2 hours, let's say?
Always, always, always reward yourself and celebrate your win. You want to celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. But celebrating doesn't have to mean eating a chocolate cake. Celebrating is feeling and knowing your worth and your accomplishment, and genuinely feeling good about what you have done. And I mean, celebrating can be a massage, it can be just a woohoo, it can be a dance, it can be singing, it can be calling a friend. I mean, there are so many things that can be celebrations. And certainly in America, pretty much in the world, but certainly in America, celebrations tend to be rewarding ourselves with food.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the big reason, though, about that is that and it tends to happen a lot more when we go too far. When we feel the need to celebrate with food, it tends to be because we felt deprived. And when you do the baby micro steps, you never have to experience that feeling of feeling deprived, so you don't have to make up for it. So celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. And here's where I'm going to throw a little monkey wrench into this. If celebration has to mean a chocolate cake, I mean, I'm just sort of going overboard. If a celebration means a chocolate cake, then here's where I might sound a little heretical to this group. Eat the chocolate cake. Do whatever celebration really makes you feel special. And does that mean you're always going to do that? No. But if who you are and where you are, that is the thing that makes you feel special, do that. And then as you go along, your desires and what will make you feel like a celebration will change with you. as long as you don't beat yourself up for it and say, oh man, I undid all my good. I did this fast and then I ate this chocolate cake. I'm a horrible person. That's where you go awry. So let your responses be okay, and then it'll make it easier to go on to the next step. Okay. And does anybody have a goal? Fasting would be awesome, but otherwise, anybody want to chime in? And if not, all right, I'm gonna leap in with something else.
Maybe you could give another illustrations of how to do that in other areas of life, not in the fasting areas. Let's say.
Sure. How about working out? Say my goal is to go out and take a run every morning, and the moment I wake up, I'm just going to get up, go outside, and take a run. And every night before I go to bed, I say, tomorrow morning, I'm going to get up and go for a run. And morning comes and it's cold out. It's nice and warm and cozy in the bed. I'm tired because I stayed up too late. And I snuggle back into bed and say, tomorrow I'll go for the run, or I'll go later in the day. And then generally you end up not going because your goal is to go first thing. And so then that night again, I say, all right, tomorrow morning, I'm going to go for a run as soon as I get up in the morning. And this tends to happen. I mean, this happens in life and in goals over and over and over again. And so one of the things that you can do is chunk that down. Maybe it's the idea of going for the run is so sort of scary in your brain because it's so different that you're going to come up with excuses, and it's not something you even think about, but your brain, your body is going to protect you from what is scary by making you stay up late, by making you make it difficult to accomplish your goal the next morning. So the way to change this is to chunk it down that it is so small that you can't help but succeed. So maybe you put your shoes out by your bed and put a whole outfit out so that you're ready to go. And the morning comes, but guess what? You still don't go for that run. But here's the thing, it's okay because you made a step. You made a step of putting the clothes out. And if you don't go for that run, this is kind of important. Put those things away. Don't leave them by the bed for tomorrow morning. Put them away. Make sure that they're not there. But then that night, put them out again. And put them out so that it's really easy for you. And you may, and actually I'm going to say, and we're going to chunk down the goal that the next morning, your only goal is to put the clothes on, and you're not even allowed to go for the run. You're not even allowed to go outside. Your mission the next day is merely to put the clothes on, and then you can do whatever you want. You can go back to bed. You can go on about your day, but you're literally not allowed to go for that run yet. Mm-hmm. Then that night you put the clothes out again, and the next day you're allowed to put your clothes on and then step outside onto your front porch. And you may feel like, running feels amazing right now, and do that. But if it doesn't, that's okay. You still did not fail. You went outside and that was your only mission. And if your big goal is running a marathon, or your big goal is going out and running 3 miles, 5 miles, 10 miles, whatever, every day, just stepping outside was your only commitment. And because you stepped outside, if you do nothing else, you get to come back in and celebrate that you were awesome. You did your goal and you held to your commitment. Then the next day, all you have to do is that same thing. You don't have to push it further. All you have to do is step outside. And if you choose to do more, you are clearly welcome to, but it has to come from joy. It has to come from feeling so good about what you want to accomplish. And if you go for a walk around the block, that is plenty. You come back and you celebrate. And I know it's crazy how many days it has taken just to get outside. But if you didn't put it down to those teeny tiny goals, you'd still be going to bed late every night and waking up and beating yourself up for not having run in the morning. And people can do this for years. People can procrastinate for a lifetime and beat themselves up for it every single day, and every single day feel like a failure. Or they can do laughably small little micro steps and accomplish massive things. So, one thing before we get into if somebody else has a question or a situation to explore. We humans have a tendency to beat ourselves up for wherever we are, where we have these goals, we haven't accomplished them yet. But our entire lives are having goals that we haven't accomplished yet. And if we spend our entire lives berating ourselves for not being at the next goal, then we're going to live unnecessarily a life that tampers down on our joy and our pleasure of this life. And recognizing that no matter where we are, we're always going to have goals. And so being okay with where we are is going to make that whole experience a lot more fun. I mean, the cliche is it's all about the journey, but the thing is, it's all about the journey. It really is all about the journey. And having a goal is awesome, but let's just enjoy the process and celebrate as we go, and we'll accomplish a lot more. And I keep meaning to say something and it keeps not coming out yet. So I'm going to honor that and let somebody have a question. And then I have a feeling it's going to come into being addressed later. So does anybody have an experience they'd like, or a goal that they have that has been troublesome? Something. Does anybody have any help that they'd like? We have a quiet group. But it's okay if you don't.
Yeah, guys, just give her some goals that you haven't accomplished yet, and we will think together how to divide it into smaller steps, and how could we do that according to this strategy that Jordan has just told us of rewarding yourself. Might be fasting goal or any other goal. You have this opportunity to handle your particular goal here.
I will say it's okay if you're sort of, if you don't think you have a big enough goal, or if you have one that's so big you'd rather somebody else spoke and you just don't want to. But here's the thing though, I can talk about how to achieve what you want till till the cows come home. But setting goals, life is not about watching. Life is about doing. And this seems like it is so easy until you go to use it in a practical sense. And when we can have the exchange, that's what makes it real for you. And so if you can sort of dare to share your story, your goal, then that would be an awesome thing to do. But at the same time, here's what I was gonna hold off. I think this is where it's appropriate. Every human being on the face of the earth and throughout history has only ever done what they think is going to make them feel good right here, right now. Whether that is Mother Teresa, or whether that is the worst criminal who attacks people. Every single one of us makes every choice about everything we are going to do because we think it is going to make us feel better. And if you choose to participate, it's because you think it's going to make you feel better. If you choose not to participate, it doesn't make you bad. It doesn't make you wrong. It means you think that not participating is going to make you feel better. And that's usually a form of safety, usually safety. But it doesn't make any particular thing that you are going through right now wrong. It's just where you are with the skills that you have right here, right now. And that being said, does anybody else have any questions? Oh, I see you, Aranka. I see you talking, but you're muted.
Okay, sorry. Hello, Jordan. Nice to be here again with you. I have a very small question. That we have all these goals, and if we don't have goals, and if we don't have discipline, nothing happens. So how do you cultivate this discipline? You keep talking about how gentle we should be, how tiny steps we should take, right? But that's not enough.
If I respectfully disagree. I think that discipline is overrated. I think that you can get to your goal. If you never get there, if you are being gentle with yourself and you never get there, it might not be the goal that you think it is. So give me an example so we can.
For example, cravings, or I set a goal, and 2 days later I fail. I just give in to other impulses instead of doing what I should be doing, right? So I'm being gentle with myself, but I'm failing because I have no discipline.
Okay. So when you are failing and it's because you don't have discipline, that is because in the moment that giving into that craving or giving into whatever that was felt like it was more important to you than your goal?
No, no. So,
Yes.
okay. Okay. Okay, I
That's,
see what you
otherwise you
mean.
wouldn't do
Yeah.
it. And so, and that's okay when you acknowledge, you know what, in that moment, that craving was more important to me than my goal. Okay, all right, I see that. But when you beat yourself up for that, when you say, I'm not a person who has discipline, I'm not capable, that actually makes it harder to have the goal, the fasting goal, be more important than the craving next time. But when you can observe, this is my behavior, and not so crazy about that behavior. I thought I wanted to fast longer, but then this craving seemed more important. So, all right, I'm going to try this again. And I'm going to, that's what makes you think about the great things about accomplishing the fasting goal. And you know what? If you give into the cravings 2 days later, that is okay too.
No, no.
Because you're not going to do this forever if you don't beat yourself up for it. The reason that it happens over and over and over and over again is because you're continuing to beat yourself up for it. And that sense of shame, that sense of guilt is what is causing the craving to come back.
Okay. One more phrase, if I can inject here, is that what I think is, what can I get away with? And I hate it. Like, what is that about? Oh,
So,
I make a smoothie. It's almost like no food, but it's full of fruit and water. Like that's real food,
okay,
right?
so drink the smoothie.
Yeah, but
And
I
don't,
already failed even thinking about it.
but you didn't fail. You got a result. There is no failure. There is only results.
Mm.
And when you make that smoothie, enjoy the heck out of it. Drink it, enjoy it, relish it, and do not beat yourself up for it. Just know you had this experience, and next time you want a slightly different experience. And because it sounds like, it sounds like it wasn't even so much of a craving as much of a little mischievous, like, what can I get away with this time? Which tends to happen from beating yourself up. Because nobody's making you fast or not fast. You don't have a parent, you don't have a jailer, there's nobody but you that is making you do this. So on one side of yourself, you want to fast. On this other side of yourself, you want to have this smoothie. If you are at war with yourself, then you are going to continue the cycle of failure. And so when you do make that smoothie, make it like, keep it on your tongue as long as possible, relish it, enjoy it, just get every ounce of pleasure that you can out of it. And then when it is time to fast again, then, and maybe it's immediately after the smoothie, you know what? I'm starting over. Then start over having relished and enjoyed every moment of that experience, and know that now you get to start over fresh and from a place of joy, not from a place of beating yourself up. And when, how long is it before the craving for the smoothie comes up again?
Couple of days.
Okay. So a couple of days come, and here's where it gets crazy. a couple of days come and you have that craving again, make it, do it. It is okay. Have the smoothie in a couple days. Relish it again. Enjoy it again. Celebrate that you went 2 days before you had a smoothie. And do a victory dance, sing, dance, but
I can't do that. No.
you can.
Well,
It's-
yeah. I'm going to try.
You can.
I haven't been
The
able.
more you celebrate it, perfect. The more you celebrate the accomplishment that you did make, it'll make it that much easier and that much more fun to experience the next time. Because this isn't about doing one 7-day fast and then I'm done for the rest of my life.
No.
This is about
No.
a lifestyle.
Right.
So let it come naturally. And I posit to you that even if you do 20 times, you fast for 2 days and then you have a smoothie, and you celebrate and then you fast for 2 days and you have a smoothie, as long as you're not beating yourself up for it, that 21st time, you're going to go 3 days. And you might even go 7 days because you've stopped beating yourself up for it. And it's that beating yourself up that then requires the reward of the smoothie, of giving in. When you stop beating yourself up for where you are, you energetically, you physically do not need to keep rewarding yourself with the gifts of the smoothie. It will follow.
I'm very clear about how amazing I feel during fasting, but perhaps every tiny little challenge I face, I'm bored, what to do, there's nothing to do. I do read, I do art, I play with my grandson. So it's not that I don't know how to occupy myself, but there's something, this oral fixation would be loved to. Would EFT help with that?
EFT is absolutely helpful for that. And you can do it on everything. And it's always about the truth of what is. So even though I just want to eat because I'm bored, even though I don't know I have this restlessness.
Yes, restlessness. That's it. Yeah, restlessness.
So yeah, restlessness is a big part of it. But you're never going to heal that restlessness by beating yourself up for being there.
Mm.
So
have you been restless?
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. It's so normal. It is when we are fasting, we're fasting everything. We're fasting our mental thoughts, we're fasting the food, and restlessness is such a normal part. And as you go along, that may fall away on its own accord, but it's never going to fall away if you make yourself wrong for being there. It's there because it wants to be healed. It's coming out into your reality because it's ready to be healed. So give yourself, every time you experience a part of yourself that you don't like, that is an opportunity to be healed and create a better life for yourself. Okay. But every time you beat yourself up for it, you're going to make it, every time you make yourself wrong, you're going to make it more likely that it's going to happen again.
Okay. It's a new angle. I mean, I knew that we're not supposed to beat up ourselves. So, like, I'm not that dumb, but, and yet it happens.
It does. It's human. It's human. It's okay. It's okay. And even that, it's okay that you beat up on yourself. But now that you know, now take a micro step towards not beating up on yourself so that you can continue along the path of your goals. And knowing that making yourself wrong actually keeps you from your goals, sometimes then it's like, oh man, I'm so bad, I'm so wrong, I beat up on myself. How dare I beat up on myself? It's like, no. Then do EFT on that. Even though I beat up on myself, even though I can't help myself from beating up on myself, even though I don't know how to not make myself wrong, let all of that be okay. Whatever level you are at, find the resistance that you notice most at that moment and do EFT on that. And then you can continue the healing process that way.
One more question, if I may,
Sure.
Jordan.
Sure.
It's a fear. I can sense a fear, and I guess because I still have to work, make a living, to pay the bills, to enjoy Zoom calls, for example, right? So you need to have the equipment. I would love to just be in the woods, but there's anyway. So I have to have a job, and there's a fear of not being able to do it if I fast long. And I'm over that, but I don't know how to get over that fear.
The fear
of dizziness,
Sure. I mean, and I completely understand that, because I work with kids in a very high energy capacity, and the way to do it though is building slowly. If you're working and you're afraid of not being able to fast long term while you're working, then fast shorter until, and shorten it down to a point where it doesn't feel like a hardship.
That's probably why I'm doing the 2-day thingies, right?
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
When, not if, because you will be ready to do more. When you are ready to do more, then it will come from a joyous place. It won't come because you're beating yourself up for not doing it long enough.
So whenever it went fast, whenever I actually passed the 2 days, I felt that it had to come from a heroic effort, right? And perhaps I don't have that heroic effort all the time. The 3rd day is usually, I do it.
And the 3rd day tends to be the hardest. So
I see.
If you can continue doing the 2 days, and this is where you can add that hour, make sure it's, a full 48 hours. If you can't do 48 hours, if it's really 40 hours, then do 40 hours. And then the next time do 41 or 42 hours. If you're already at 48 and then it's like at hour 49, you start to crave this, then just delay making the smoothie until 50 hours. And you can delay it just enough so that maybe you are being heroic in that time, but just be heroic for an hour. Or just be heroic for half an hour. You don't have to be heroic for an entire day of nail biting and just do what, and let's see. The whole point is that you're no longer allowed to beat up on yourself for whenever it is that you stop.
Okay.
And you will go longer. If your goal is to do a longer term fast, then just keep reminding yourself that is the goal. It's okay when you stop. It's essential to listen to your body. It's absolutely essential to listen to your body. And so when your body is telling you to stop, stop. But if you want to extend it, if your goal is, I want to make it a little longer, then just keep taking the little micro steps of an hour or two at a time in your process of extending. And I think that once you do, so what, maybe it takes you 5 years to get to a 5-day fast. Who cares? 5 years is going to come anyway, whether you do accomplish this or not. But if you make it so that you're not allowed to be happy because you haven't done a 5-day fast yet, then you're probably still not going to be doing 5-day fasts. Or if you do, it's going to be miserable and you're never going to want to do it again. So if you continue on the goals in smaller chunks, you're going to get there so much faster. I promise you. I promise you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jordan. Yeah, I've been doing this 3-day, and the 3rd day is I'm pushing it. I'm not happy. I like to beat up everybody. No, I never do, but just myself especially. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So my tools are is to keep it 2 days instead of 3 days, like.
I'm going to say, here's next time.
Like
Are you
today's
on
day
a 2-day
1.
fast now? Today's day one.
1.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So this particular, and do you mark it in hours, or like, do you do a full 40-day, 48?
Yeah, I usually do.
Okay. So I'm going to say this particular time, you are allowed to do 48 hours and no more.
Okay.
And then when you finish that 48 hours, I want you to celebrate like nobody's business. Then the next time you do a 2-day fast, I want you to try it for 49 or 50 hours.
Okay, I see your point. Yes.
And that's it. Like when 50 hours hits, you're done. You're done.
Okay.
And I want you to celebrate like crazy. And you will be celebrating like crazy because you hit your goal. And then the next time you go, you can go a little bit and just tiny bits, and you will reach that. And as every single time you fast, you're healing. Every single time you fast, you are healing. So when you combine the healing that you are building up by doing the 2-day fasts that you are doing, plus the releasing of the beating yourself up, then it's going to be so much easier than you expect.
Yeah. Okay. I am also comparing myself to others, and it's very bad. Super bad. I can't believe that I'm actually doing it, but I caught myself doing it.
But that is where you are, and that is okay. So if you catch yourself beating yourself up for not being as good as other people, then know that the reason you are beating yourself up for not being as good as other people is because you are a person with aspirations and goals. And know that that's where that beating yourself comes from, is because you have aspirations. And that if you are comparing yourself to others, I don't recommend comparing yourself to others. And I'm not saying that should be your goal, but if that's where you are, then if you make yourself wrong for doing that, it's going to keep you there. So let it be okay. You know what? I'm comparing myself to others, and think of it in terms of results. Is comparing myself to others getting me where I want to go? Not so much. All right, well, but in a way it does, because you see the results that you want. So appreciate that aspect of it. So I'm comparing myself because I'm getting these results, but I see these other people getting these other results. So take the good from that, and then, but release the need to make yourself wrong for not being where they are. You can get the inspiration without having to be wrong in the process.
Okay. Yeah, I don't beat myself if I cannot do 100 push-ups, right? Um, I'm doing about 60 or so. So that's not bad.
Which is
No,
amazing and so much more than most people can do. So
right.
yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jordan. Again,
Yeah.
thank you.
My pleasure. Anybody else?
Jordan, maybe you could elaborate on, can you hear?
On what?
Can you hear? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you can elaborate on this, on different strategies of how to stop this habit of beating ourselves up. Because I think that lots of people might have this unconscious fear that if they don't criticize themselves after they fail, quote unquote, then it will just reinforce the thing that they want to change. You know, like if you
Yeah,
understand the meaning, right?
absolutely. We tend to think that if I don't beat myself up for this, then I will never learn. I will never change. It's sort of like it's a parenting concept. It's frequently a religious concept.
Exactly.
You know, the whole idea of we are sinners who need to do better and we're not worthy is it does a number on us. It is really human to think that. It's not the most resourceful or elegant way of achieving the goals that we want, but it is where we are as humans. The real issue though is that it doesn't work. So, and you can see that it doesn't work by looking at your history of beating up on yourself. And even if you do eventually get your goal, you've been miserable through the process unnecessarily. And the big thing is really finding a way, whether they're reminders, put a note up on your wall, put a note up on your mirror, put a sticky on your computer, wherever you are, put some reminder that there is no failure, there are only results. And I love Abraham Hicks, and they are always saying that we're never done. You know, we're eternal beings and we're never done. And so it doesn't matter if you didn't accomplish this goal today because you're not done. And you're not even done when you die. You're still not done. Like we're eternal. So wherever you are is fine because you have plenty of time to get to where you want to be. So one is reminders that there is no failure, there are only results. And when you can look at the results, then you can decide to do something slightly differently and continue on. This was taught to me a long time ago in terms of a way of stopping a bad habit, and which beating ourselves up for being failures is a bad habit. And it's really all it is. We learned it, we kept doing it, it became a habit. But we can undo habits just like we can create habits. And there are all kinds of ways that you can do this, but I actually find that the most powerful is to actually use an index card, just a regular little old index card. And every time you notice yourself in the behavior that you don't want, no judgment, just mark a little tick on the paper. And the next time you notice it, mark another tick on the paper. And the next time you notice it, another tick on the paper. And even if you fill up the entire index card in the first day, it's okay. You're just noticing. It's the act of noticing without judgment that is going to make the change. And at the end of the day, note down anywhere on your calendar, somewhere, just how many there were, how many ticks you have on that paper. And then the next day, start over again. And it's just noticing this behavior and do a tick. The next time you notice that behavior, do a tick. And if you beat yourself up for it, it's not going to change. But, and what's funny is you're beating yourself up for beating yourself up. But every time you notice that you say that the bad habit is beating yourself up for not accomplishing your goal, if you can just do that, notice that with awareness, and you're just being aware of when you do it, it will fall away of its own accord. If you are, it's just like EFT. If you're trying to make something go away, it's going to hang in there for dear life. But the whole point of EFT is allowing and accepting yourself exactly as you are. And when you do that, miracles happen. All kinds of changes happen. So I highly suggest getting an index card and just doing the little ticks on whatever the bad behavior, the bad habit is. And you will find that that habit just falls away. Does that help?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Great advice.
And while people are thinking, if anybody has seen my previous things, the breathing is really important. So let's take 2 minutes. Let's take 2 minutes and we're going to do the conscious breathing, which is where, and it might help to put a finger on an ear so that you want to breathe deeply in fully and out, but no forcing on either side and no pausing, just in fully, out fully. And you want to hear yourself breathe. And it is okay if you do mouth, I'm not a fan of mouth breathing, but it's okay if you need to do that to hear yourself. But what I like to do is just put the finger in my ear, and or you can sort of change with your tongue, you can sort of change the pressure inside your head, and that way you can hear yourself breathe. And
but you don't recommend restricting the throat, like the Ujjayi breath?
If you change, you don't need to restrict your throat. If you're doing that, you're doing it to breathe through your nose. You're just right. Like if you're in an airplane or swimming underwater and you just sort of change the pressure in your ear, that's how you can hear yourself breathe. If not, if this is super easy, just put a finger in your ear. Okay. And it seems so simple and so simplistic, but it is so powerful. This is something that will connect you to your spirit, to your inner being, to your higher being. It will connect you to the divine. So I encourage you to do this as frequently as possible. And let's have, I'm going to start here so we can, here we go. Okay, so let's start now. Okay. I actually usually do about 5 minutes, but sometimes on calls it's easier for everybody to do 2 minutes so they don't check out. But we'll ask him any other questions. And actually, I mean, it's a simple concept. It's a super simple concept. The smaller steps and celebrating each win as you go. But it's a lot harder in practice. So we may not need to go further with this, but certainly if anybody has any questions or any specific examples that they would like to go through, I'm absolutely happy to do it.
Hi, Jordan. Hi, Arik.
Hi.
This is Vilas. I have a small experience to narrate and also a question related. I was actually initiated or recommended to go for a dry fast. Now I'm a waterman, so to say, because I can't live without having 8 to 10 glasses of water every day. So it was a very challenging kind of suggestion for me, but I wanted to initiate myself into fasting. So I started about 4 weeks ago. That was my first fast, and then I said, let me take baby steps towards dry fast. I don't want to go to dry fast immediately. So my experience has been quite good because the first and second week, I was on fruit fast. I said, let's do with fruits. And the first day was not so good experience because I had a splitting headache just after 12 or 15 hours. Yeah. And then I broke my fast. I said, that's enough. I can't take it anymore. The following week, I was able to go through the whole 24 hours, no issues. And I didn't get any headache. So I was victorious. I said, let's celebrate. Yeah, that's good. So I could do it. So then then I thought, now let's move to water fasting. That's my favorite thing, anyways. I like water. But I ended up having heavier meal just before the water fast. So I thought, thinking that should not get any hunger pangs. So and I'm comfortable. So I'm pampering myself to a heavier meal. And then last week was the first water fast. It was good, and today is the second time, and it's good. So I want to move towards dry fasting by testing the waters slowly and step by step. So is that the right thing? And what would it entail to get into dry fast? I shudder to imagine because I don't know how I'm going to do that. So
You
I need some motivation.
you are exactly on the right path. I would recommend in your first foray into dry fasting,
Yeah.
start at night and think of it as just do a 24-hour, if you can do a 24-hour water fast, just do a 24-hour fast. And if you start in the evening, then you'll have already had a number of hours dry when you wake up in the morning. And then just see how long you can go comfortably without drinking any water. And then once you do, just drink water till the end of the 24 hours. And so you have a full 24-hour dry fast. That's something that's already something that you're capable of. So now just add in a little bit of it to be dry. And then make sure it's a full 24 hours because that's doable. But just add in the water when you feel you need to. And then the next time you do it, just see if you can go a little bit longer. And even if it's 10 minutes longer, just try to go a little bit longer, but only to the point where it feels like it's something that you can do comfortably.
Yeah.
you might be okay going a full 24 hours dry. But if you're not, it's okay, because where you are is where you are. And when you do need to drink water, drink it and enjoy that. It's the whole point is celebrate exactly what you've accomplished so far. And you're absolutely on par to doing this. And I will tell you, I work with energy, like which requires water. And I am a waterphile. I drink a lot of water when I'm not dry fasting. I love water. And I completely understand. And the whole idea of dry fasting, I was intrigued, but like, what? For a very long time before I finally jumped into doing it. So I completely understand, but I've also done quite a few days. I done my longest is 6.5 days. And it's absolutely possible. It's absolutely possible. Just take it exactly what you're doing in the baby steps and keep celebrating.
Yeah, because why I started that regimen of having water all the time and eight classes, 8 to 10 classes, was somewhere, I came across or somebody told me that it's water that keeps our blood, in much needed fluid condition. Otherwise, it tends to thicken and then it has pressure problems. So, is that a myth or it is a fact that really water is needed for us to have a proper circulation? Otherwise, the blood will end up getting thicker. Is it true?
It depends. I mean, the official answer is it depends. Let's see. Yeah, it really depends on what else you are doing. There are some people, I mean, I'm a water drinker, so you're asking a water drinker. But there are some people that don't drink any water and they get all of their water from fruit juice or from juices. And does that make them wrong? Not necessarily. Is it what I want to do? No. But if you are eating a lot of grains and dry cooked foods and so on, you're going to need more water than if you are fully raw. And here's where I might be a little heretical too. I don't believe, I mean, if anybody wants to become a breatharian, have at it. It is not my goal. I believe that the whole reason we come here to this earth is to muck it up and experience life and what this earth has to offer. So that has never been a goal, and never say never, but I can't imagine that's going to be a goal of mine. But if it's a goal of somebody else's, I have no problem with it. So follow what works for you, and just be open to really see what works for you. That's where judgment really is important, or the lack of judgment is really important. Is it's a lot easier to observe results when we don't have when we're not beating ourselves up for those results, because then our view of it is biased and skewed. And so if drinking the amount of water that you drink feels good to you, and you feel better doing that than not, then do that. Whether it's true for everybody is a different story, though.
Right. Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? Should we wrap up? Does anybody else have any?
Yeah, Jordan, I wanted to ask, maybe you could elaborate more on setting the right goals in the first place. I'll tell you why I'm asking that, because some people ask me, and some like I have an impression when I talk to people, to some people, that right that their goal is not very right in the first place. For example, someone might decide that I now want to fast because I must heal particular condition in the body. That might be goal, and but then but I usually say, okay, but just it's better to have this mindset that I'm fasting for general balancing out of the system, and then the medical conditions. But no, but for example, some people do insist, okay, I want to fast in order to lose weight or in order to heal something, this thing or that thing, and then obviously it will lead to frustration because you do that and it doesn't go away, so and you get tensed. So I just wanted to ask you, from your viewpoint as a life coach, health coach, how to approach setting goals.
The number one thing is, if when you set that goal, it automatically makes you wrong for being where you are, that's not the, and I'm not gonna say it's a wrong goal, it's not the most effective goal. The yeah, I always sort of chuckle when I see people that are saying, I have to do a 21-day dry fast because I have 100 pounds to lose, but in 90 days. I'm like,
Yeah, or I have to do it because I want to get rid of my problem here and
right, I
there.
have this health issue,
Exactly.
and I have to heal it right now.
Yeah. So
That
how would you approach this person? What would you recommend this particular person? Because I meet it quite often.
uh, the first thing I usually discuss is what I mentioned before about the 5 years. If it takes you 5 years to accomplish that, well, in 5 years you're going to be 5 years older, no matter whether you accomplish this goal or not. So let's take a step back from needing it to be urgent, but the urgency is completely self-imposed. And it's usually completely arbitrary as well. And it almost always, if not always, stems from feeling bad about themselves and feeling ashamed of who they are. And so usually I will start by working on healing that aspect of it first, the shame and the guilt and or the physical pain of wherever they are. We work on healing that as we chunk down the goals. But it's hard to get anybody to accept a smaller goal as long as they feel unworthy and wrong in where they are right now. So that tends to be the very first thing that I'll do as we discuss chunking down.
Mm-hmm. And would you advise this person, for example, if this person really has this goal of healing a particular physical condition by fasting, would you recommend to this person to keep this as a goal or to rephrase it in some kind of another way of general rebalancing, just not to get frustrated if they don't get there?
Well, the thing is, yes, I would definitely, and the more general, the better. I mean, I think it's fine to have those goals as long as you're not wrong in the process. But that being said, you have to know your body is so much smarter than you are. I mean, it heals itself. We can't heal ourselves by thinking. Our body heals itself because the body is smarter than we are. And it will heal what it wants to heal on its own timeline. So you might have this goal of, I want to heal this particular thing, but that doesn't mean the body is going to do that in your timeline. The body is going to heal as it prioritizes what needs to be done. And if you continue, you're probably going to heal all of these things, but needing that to be the reason is going to end up in the beating yourself up, in the frustration, in all the things that are going to make it harder for you to end up healing. I mean, just stress itself is going to prevent healing. And if you're feeling bad and guilty and unworthy, then that creates stress in your body, which then hampers the healing that you are seeking. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that goes in line with what Anita Morjani says. Do you know Anita Morjani? It's a woman. It's a woman who healed from cancer, and today she's kind of a spiritual teacher. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. She was in coma. She had out of body experience. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, guys. So, does anyone have any more questions? I would like to ask you, Jordan, if we are talking about goals tonight or today, then what would you recommend if someone asks you? It's more of the global philosophical question: how to connect to their calling, how to connect, how to set the global great goals right from the beginning, in line with their real calling, real purpose in life, in this incarnation, you might say. What would you recommend?
A couple things. One, I would start by doing a lot of the conscious breathing, where you listen to yourself breathe, because the more you are connected, the more you're likely to get the information that is true for you. Mm-hmm. And letting go maybe of the need to have one calling for the rest of my life. Sometimes, let it be the calling for you now, and your calling may change. You might accomplish what you've set out to do and move on, or you might be the world's foremost expert in this particular thing, and that is your calling. But whatever that is, let it be a process of where you are now. But in terms of finding sort of the truth of what is your calling and your goal, goes back to, I think, maybe our first webinar, that feeling the feeling the physical sensations when you think a thought. And so when you think of this goal that you're considering, feel if there's any part in your body, there might be part of you that's like, whoa, that's amazing, that feels so good. But there's probably going to be a part of you that goes, I'm not so sure. And that doesn't mean it's not the right goal, but feel that physical sensation wherever it is in your body, and just be aware of that physical sensation, and let that physical sensation be okay. Whatever that angst is, whatever that is, whatever that sensation is, just let it be okay. And if you try to make it go away, it'll stay forever. But if you let it be okay, it won't need to communicate with you anymore. And as it goes, you will get more clarity on what your calling is. And if it goes away completely, then you might have completely different thoughts about the goal. It might be crystal clear what it is. you might think, "Oh, this isn't my goal. That's somebody else's goal for me." But the process of one, breathing is really important. And then the feeling, that feeling will bring the clarity if you keep with it.
Okay, so you think about your goal and you feel the feeling in the body, and then what? Do you okay, you observe the feeling. Now, okay, and then what? Like how to work with this feeling in the body? For example, you might feel good feeling, like nice vibrations in the body, or you might feel that something is not really resonating with you. Something there's kind of a dissonance. So what do you do after you feel the feeling? What do you do?
And again, if you try to make it go away, it won't. But if you allow it, it will dissipate of its own accord.
Yeah, but I don't understand.
And then ask again.
Oh, why would you want to make it go away? Because you have just thought about your goal, and probably it will produce some kind of nice feeling. So why would you want it to go away?
In that, well, then it might deepen. If it's a nice feeling, it might even deepen. If you think of a goal and there's nothing but warm fuzzies inside of you when you think about that goal, focus on those, and they may actually increase. They may decrease. The point is, I can't decide for you what your calling is. Only you can decide for you what your calling is. And your body knows more than you do. And if you think of a goal and it gives you nothing but warm fuzzies and not an iota of bleh, then one, it might be too small of a goal, because usually goals have a little scariness to them, at least the big ones. But if it's nothing but warm fuzzies and you are feeling it, if it dissipates, you may decide that's not the goal for me, or whatever it is, clarity will come. But clarity comes from acknowledging the sensations in our body and letting them be okay. And if that is your calling and you have warm fuzzies, the fact that it gets stronger or goes away has no bearing on whether it's your calling or not, but it will bring clarity. And that's the important part. As you create the clarity, then you will know, and there won't be a question as to whether this is the right or the wrong path for you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, guys, so before we wrap it up, does anyone have any more questions? Okay, Jordan, so we're going to finish soon. Maybe towards the end, just tell us more about your current work with your clients. How could you help to our members of our group, to other people who are watching, and then we will put your contact details below the video.
Perfect. Well, I use a lot of energetic techniques, modalities. I use EFT, I use the Feel of Feeling. I've been sort of gifted with some healing breaths, some healing, I don't know, the powers feels a little too weird to say, but I work with my clients, whatever their goals in. They tend to be health related, but over the years I've done coaching on careers, on relationships, on all of it. And right now, this offer still stands. I offered this before. I'm not cheap. I'm not cheap at all when you work with me. However, right now I have been sort of told that I need to offer some free coaching. So I am offering to this group some, yeah, so use the contact information that you see, and I am absolutely happy to schedule sessions with you. So yeah, I would love to offer that to this group.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That's really, really generous. Okay, guys, so thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jordan. You're amazing. It was really eye-opening what you have told us. And thank you very much, guys, all the participants. And yeah, and I just want to say the last word that this meeting was organized by the weekly fasting group. And below this video, you will find also my WhatsApp number if you are not yet in the group. And if the idea of fasting once a week, every week for between 24 and 36 hours appeals to you, then you're welcome to contact me and I will happily add you to the group. You will fast with many, many good people from all over the world. So thank you very much and have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.